Hello everyone, and welcome to Retro Brick Reviews, where today we will be taking a look at the three recently revealed LEGO Spider-Man Far From Home sets, which will be releasing on April 22nd. And I'm sorry if my voice sounds a bit off in this video, as I am currently ill, but, I wanted to record a video to get something out there. Anyway, our first set is the Molten Man Battle, which will be a $30 set with 294 pieces and 3 minifigures. And just taking a look at the main build for Molten Man, you can see that he looks pretty cool. We'll take a look at the minifigures later, but you can see that he gets some stickers, which are, they're fine, I guess. I don't mind them here. They look good enough. And his face is a nice printed piece. Not a piece you usually see for a face, which is good. Not a lot of dimension to it, but I like the design. It's cool. A print I think is even cooler, though, is on some, not all, but some of the sort of textured rock pieces we have around him. You can see some metallic gold printing on those. It looks like we get 6 of those with the gold printing and maybe 3 without. So that's really cool. 3 or 4 without it. Yeah, I think 4. Anyway, you can see that also there are lots of stuff jutting out of him, like he just molted out of the ground. So you have like a few steel beams, a stoplight, a road sign, part of a car. That's really cool. On one arm he has a big grabber hand, and on the other he has a 6 stud shooter. So some fine play features, but nothing like too extraordinary. And then in the bottom you can see that you do also get some extra web attachments for Spidey, including a really big web design that you can see sort of with like multiple bits clipped on, as well as a web with a clip at the end, so you can just attach him to any point of Molten Man, as well as just some of the other bits. Like those are just the new web pieces that were introduced with the new Spider-Man sets in January. But we just have some extra pieces added in to, just add a bit of extra stuff to them, which is cool. And for our 3 minifigures, we get on the left Mysterio, then a firefighter, and the new stealth suit Spider-Man. Now, Mysterio is a very cool minifigure, and he comes in all 3 sets, which on one hand, I can see why some people might be annoyed by that, because, that does mean that he is that he is very common, but on the other hand, I think it's cool because that means that every single set comes with the main hero, Spidey, and the main villain, Mysterio. So no matter what set you get, you can have a full-on Spider-Man action scene, which is really cool in my books. And Mysterio is a really cool minifigure as well. He gets this newly molded fishbowl piece, which goes over a silver unprinted head, which creates the cool, shiny fishbowl look. Really good design. His cape is magenta, and the torso and legs are nicely printed. They definitely have less gold on them than they do in the movie. In the movie, his suit has a lot more gold on it, but I kind of like this green look. It's very comic accurate, which is cool. I like the Mysterio figure. Then in the middle, we have the firefighter, who has nothing new as far as I can tell. The helmet is one that we've had in dark red since I want to say 2013. The torso and legs are the current stuff, I'm pretty sure, just for City. The face is, I want to say the face is the one LEGO used for Finn in the First Order ATST, which isn't a pretty common face, although looking at it again, it could also just be, the First Order crew member face. I can't really tell. It could be either. I'm hoping it's the Finn face, but looking at it more, I think it's the crew member face, which is also the one LEGO used for Shocker and the Homecoming sets, interestingly. Spidey, though, is our big exclusive figure, and he looks really cool. The head print is super accurate, and I could see some people using that for a custom figure of Spider-Man Noir from, Spider-Verse, which is good use for that, I think. I might use that if I get the set, although I don't know if I will get the set. But anyway, the torso is good, legs are good, and it's a really cool figure. I don't really see much problem with it. It is odd how we just have an empty silver circle on the torso instead of a shield logo, but that's a very small thing. Everything else is perfect. I don't mind the lack of double molded legs because I mean, just looking at the design, it works for me. The lack of double molded legs makes sense here, weirdly enough. So yeah, really like the figures in the set. And that is the Molten Man Battle. Not a super complex set, but I think it's a pretty alright one. Not sure if I'll be picking it up since it's... Like, I am kind of getting pretty tired of just, 10,000 mechs every year, but I mean, this is a cooler one. Yeah. Moving on to a set that is so much cooler, though, we have the Hydro-Man Attack, a set that comes with 471 pieces and 4 minifigures for $40. A lot of 4s in that sentence. But yeah, that is a very good price to part ratio and a good price to minifig ratio. And I could easily have seen this set going for $50, but it's $40, which is cool. And this is just in general a cool set. And starting off, you can see that we get a couple builds here. There's a very simple design for a gondola, but which just has a little paddle in it. That's cool. Hydro-Man is sort of on a spinny tornado thing. We'll take a closer look at that later, but you can see that it's just a big tower. There are going to be some stickers on it, although none of them are really showing up in this kind of low-res image. That can't spin, which is a bit unfortunate. I was kind of hoping that maybe some of the sections could spin individually, but they can't. You just kind of spin it all at once. But anyway, your main build is this wonderful Venice design with this beautiful bridge with some nice arches in the back that look great. And you also have just spider webs on the sides, studs so you could have figures running on them, steps going up to it. This is all by the water, which is nice. And then on the right you have a diner with a couple seats outside. There's a very simple interior with a little coffee maker in it, if you can see that. Up top you have this little tower. I mean, just so nice. You also get more web pieces in the set, including a large attachment with a web shoot with a sort of splatter at the end. You can see that a lot of the smaller web pieces are just attached to the bridge, as I mentioned earlier, and he gets another one of the web pieces with a clip at the end, so you could just clip them onto any of the bars around the set, which is cool. Here you have an action scene with Peter leaping into action, and you can see on the left one of our play features, which is that you can explode off the top part of the bridge, or, well, not the top part, but, the top part of the floor, and you could just blow that off into the water below, which is cool. And you can also see there's a little lever that you can push in to make the table fall over in one of the seats. And I forgot to mention, but from this image you can also just see a bit better the simple interior of the diner with a coffee maker inside, as well as some of the stickers on Hydro-Man's tornado. Speaking of Hydro-Man, here he is with a zoomed up look on sort of the top of his tornado so you can see how it's built. And going into the minifigures, he is the first one. He has no leg printing, but he does get standard minifigure legs inside of that pedestal. No transparent parts on him, which is kind of odd to me. I kind of feel as though maybe they should have done the arms as transparent. If they didn't want to do the head to make him out for the torso, I get, but I don't know. I feel as though maybe the arms should have been transparent. But I mean, he looks good enough, even without transparent. I really actually do like the design on the torso and head. Those have, teal and light blue, multiple light blues. Those are really lots of blue colors in there, and it just looks so good. I like this figure so much more than I thought I would. He looks really good without any transparent parts. He looks like he's a goopy water boy. Kinda reminds me of Chaos from Sonic Adventure, even, which is, always good. Anyway, the next minifigure is Mysterio, and he's the same Mysterio as the other set, which is fine. Kinda would have liked if one of the sets could have come with Mysterio unmasked, so we could have gotten a Jake Gyllenhaal head, since we don't get any of those in the sets. Every Mysterio always has his fishbowl hat on. Maybe we should have gotten that head in this set, because that's where we see him in the trailer. You don't want any part of that. Alternatively, maybe in one of the other sets, since this set does have the next two figures make this, in my opinion, the best figure selection of this line for Far From Home. Our third figure is really cool. It is Michelle, also known as MJ for some reason. Anyway, and she looks pretty good. She gets a new face print. One side is smiley, one side is angry. The torso isn't new. It's one that was introduced in the Lego Jurassic World line for the older brother, and since then they've used it in City and some other stuff, and we have it here. It works. Last figure is Peter Parker, not who is out of costume mostly, but you do get the beanie piece printed with Spider-Man's eyes on top. Kind of interesting to get here because that idea actually originated from a bootleg Spider-Man figure. So this is Lego taking inspiration from the knockoffs, but not printing any webbing on it, so the knockoff version actually looks better. Kind of wish that maybe Lego could have printed just a bit of webbing on there, like just at the front. It doesn't need to go all around, but just print it at the front. Not even all the way to like the sides of the front, just like the front, like where you have the eyes. Just print some webbing on there. It would have looked great. And anyway, Peter does also come with a hairpiece, which is the Superman hairpiece in dark brown, which personally I don't agree with in shape or color. The color should definitely be just a normal brown, normal reddish brown. And the hairpiece is a bit hard to say. I feel as though maybe the Han Solo hairpiece could have worked really well. Although there are definitely others. I mean, I guess the Superman hairpiece isn't too far off. It works. What didn't work, though, was the face, which is the same face Lego introduced for, I don't remember, the one guy from the Pirates 5 set, then they used it for Scott Lang, then they used it in the Harry Potter line for the beater, the Lucian Bowl, and then now they're using it here, and kind of an issue, seeing as how now both Scott Lang and Peter Parker use the same head. I mean, that's an issue that we've seen a fair few times in MCU sets, but it's still really annoying. And this head really doesn't look anything like Tom Holland. Like, I think this face works really well for PS4 Spider-Man, and honestly, I think this face kind of even works for Andrew Garfield if you squint a little, but I mean, for Tom Holland, they really should have done what so many people have been doing for years on custom figures and just used the Marty McFly head. I mean, like, it has basically the same expressions as this one. I mean, the only difference is that that one hasn't been in print since 2015, so they would have to bring out an old print set. I mean, I think it would have been worth it. Like, again, it wouldn't have even been them making a new print. They would have just had to bring out an old one out of the back. Kind of annoying, but anyway, his torso is very nice. It is an open jacket over a plaid shirt with the Spidey logo showing through underneath. Definitely, this is something that reminds me of the original Spidey movie from 2002, and the scene where, Peter is running into the parade when Goblin's attacking and he's taking off his shirt. I think that's a cool print. Heck, I might use it for a custom Tobey Maguire Spidey, since, I mean, that is easily my favorite Spidey film, and, I mean, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to use this set even for Spider-Man. I might just have it be, just like a generic scene. Just a nice generic Venice scene without any superhero stuff involved, or I don't know. Maybe I will have it Spider-Man, but I'll bring in my Spider-Man from the Homecoming sets. Maybe I will just keep it as it is. I don't know. Maybe I'll bricklink a spare torso, or maybe I won't do anything. I don't know. What am I talking about? Okay, so yeah, this set is definitely the three of the three. This is definitely the one I am getting. The other two I'm not so sure about, but this set I am getting. It is by far the best. Probably one of my favorite sets coming out in this spring season. I mean, there really isn't anything wrong here. It is basically a perfect set. I mean, like, if I had to have a little complaint, maybe, like, I'm not a big fan of Hydra Man's build. Like, the main Venice build is perfect. I don't think they should have changed it at all. Even making it bigger, I don't think they should have. Like, this is a fantastic build. I can't think of any real way they could have improved it. But Hydra Man's spinner, honestly, I kind of would have preferred if they'd gone much smaller. Like, just use one of the new Ninjago spinner pieces in, like, trans blue and light trans blue. Like, maybe just do double transparent, or, like, like the medium azure and trans blue. Like, I feel as though we didn't need something this extreme for what is basically just a little tornado platform. I don't know, I mean, like, I get the point. I just feel as though this is a bit extreme, and I kind of would have preferred if the parts budget from this went to something else. Again, maybe not beefing up the build, but, maybe give us, like, something on the side. Like, maybe make the gondola a bit bigger so you could fit 2 figures in it. Maybe make this at $35, or since you'd be freeing up some of the budget, maybe add in a 5th minifigure, although all that's asking a bit much. I mean, like, this set's great. The Hydro Man thing is just a really minor nitpick because it still looks good. It's just that, I mean, I have to complain about something since the rest of the set is basically perfect. But you know what the opposite of basically perfect is? Stark Jet and the Drone Attack, a set that is only 504 pieces, yet somehow manages to cost $70. And it only comes with 4 minifigures, so it's not as though those are driving up the price. I mean, I don't understand. Anyway, so yeah, starting off, I just gave you the stats for the set, and here is everything all laid out. You can see that you get 4 minifigures, which we'll take a closer look at later, 2 drones, which we'll take a closer look at later, but then you get the main jet build, which has a nice printed cockpit piece, that's good, but then on the sides you have like stickered windows, some Stark Industries stickers at the back, a lot of stickers. I really hate the stickered windows, those look so cheap. Couple stud guns on the front, because of course we do. Some nice angles, but I mean, it doesn't look like a $70 set at all. It looks like maybe a $40 jet, which I get, considering that the drones take a good amount of pieces, and this jet is probably about 400 pieces. I mean, $40 is about right here. Add in the drones. This should have been a $50 set, but I'll get into that later more. But yeah, I mean, the build's fine. It has some good shaping, but like the wings are super flat. The main center area is pretty boxy. I mean, I like the angles up at the front, but I mean, and the wings, but it just doesn't. It looks kind of thin. What I'm trying to get into that, it's good, but not good for the price. Here we have a closer look at the drones, and you can see that those look pretty good. I would honestly kind of like if we just got like one of those in a poly bag so you could mask these up, because these are cool. They definitely remind me of the Lego Movie Micromanagers, but I really like the angles on these, maybe even more than the good old Borg-style cubes. I mean, you get a couple stud guns on them, as well as some other gun barrels at the front, binoculars on top for more guns, stud on top, some nice angles, lots of guns, cool beans. Here's the interior of the jet, which is surprisingly good. It looks like you can fit probably 4 minifigures in there. Like, you have the 2 in the front, then you could probably fit 1 behind Fury, and maybe even another one in there, sort of on top of the table. The table has a sticker on there and a couple of bottles, not sure what that's about, as well as clips for some guns. And Spidey is in the back, attached to a web, for a play feature where you can just pull out the bottom. Yeah. And you can just... Oh, I feel dumb. I don't actually have a picture of it, I guess. Sorry, but, So you can just push a button and deploy him, and it'll swing out the bottom. A feature LEGO's done a few times before, like they did it on the Age of Ultron Quinjet. And, I want to say on another Marvel set, but I can't think of it. But anyway, so yeah, that's cool. And a similar feature is this one, where you can load these canisters, or that's what I think they're. They might be meant to be arc reactors, or maybe they are just canisters. I don't know. Anyway, so you can load them in here, maybe they're bombs, and then drop them out through the bottom. And like, that's a cool feature. I like the play features here. I just don't think they're worth the price. And you can just see there, like, how cheap those stickered windows look. Those do not look good. Anyway, for our minifigs, the first one is Mysterio, and he's same you've been getting in all the sets. So next figure is Fury, who's actually really cool. I like this Nick Fury. He gets a new face print that's similar to the old ones, but the mouth is a bit different, and he actually has a scar under the eye patch, which is really cool. And definitely an improvement on the other Nick Furies, and we haven't had one of these since 2015, so it's good to finally get another Nick Fury. And the torso is also really good. The leg printing is the same legs we got in, starting with General Hux in the LEGO Force Awakens sets, that carried over onto Severus Snape in the Harry Potter sets, and now here, and a lot of other figures in the Harry Potter sets, at least 2 from what I know of. And I mean, I think they're a really good print, and they just work here. I mean, like, the design, I mean, I don't know what to say. The design just really works. It's a really great, really usable pair of legs, and I'm glad that LEGO is continuing to use it here. Our next figure, though, is Happy Hogan, and no, it's not Happy Hogan, because that looks nothing like him. First off, in this movie, he has a beard. He doesn't have a beard here. And, like, that's because they couldn't bother to make a single new print for him. The face print is just the one they're using for the main character of Star Wars Resistance in the $70 red TIE Interceptor set. His name's like Cosmonauta? Yeah, something like that. And then his torso is just like the standard suit torso we've had forever. I mean, like, I don't know. Could they really not have spared a new face print for him? I mean, Happy's been in the MCU for a very long time. Oh, and then our last figure is just Spidey. I mean, after getting exclusive Spideys in the other sets, I guess it's fair to get a generic one here. But, like, I think it would have been cool to have gotten the black and red suit. Like, you know, the one that we've been seeing in leaks where the blue is, where instead of blue we have black. I think that would have been really cool. And I mean, heck, if you're going to choose a set to include a non-exclusive Spidey, why go with this one? I mean, wouldn't it have made more sense to include that in the Molten Man set? And I'll get into that later, and I get that that's because that set doesn't have... that otherwise that set wouldn't have any exclusive minifigures, but again, I'll get to that, how they should have rearranged some figures to make that work. But I think maybe this set should have had the Stealth Suit Spidey, since that would have been another super desirable figure if they only felt like making 2 new Spidey boys. So yeah, but if you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of this set. I like the drone builds, I like the front of the jet, and I like the Fury minifigure, but I think the other figures are really lazy. The jet itself looks... I mean, the center is okay, I like the play features, but the windows look bad, and overall the center section is a bit boxy. The wings are pretty flat. I mean, like, this set, again, this set would be really good for, like, $50. Like, this is a good $50 set. Like, if this was $50, not sure if I would buy it, since there are other priorities, but I would consider it. If this set was $50, I would say it's better than the Molten Man Battle. But the set is $70, which is outrageous. Do not buy the set for $70. Maybe for $60. Like, if you see it drop down to $60, then maybe. If it's less than $60, probably. If it's $50 or less, go for it, because that is a good price. This is not a bad set. Like, this is a wave of 3 very good sets. This is not a bad one. It's just an overpriced one. Molten Man is a set that I feel is alright, but as I said earlier, I feel as though they should have taken the Spidey and put it in the big Stark Jet set, and the exclusive figure for this set, they should have taken out the Firefighter and given us a figure of Ned. I think it's kind of really stupid that we don't get a figure of Ned in these sets, seeing as though he was a pretty important character in Homecoming, and he's going to be in this as well. Maybe not as much, but still, it annoys me because he's a big character. And, like, I don't know, it just seems so stupid to me, and it might just be because I'm subconsciously comparing these Spider-Man sets to the ones we got for the first 2 Raimi movies, and, like, comparing these to those, I mean, in those sets, we got Spidey, we got Peter Parker, and we're finally getting a new Peter Parker in these sets, which is nice, first time since 2004, but we got MJ, the main love interest, we got his best friend Harry, we got Aunt May, we got villains, we got generic robbers, we got law enforcement, we got ambulance workers. I mean, we got Jameson. I mean, we got so much stuff in those sets, and I get that the reason they can't do that here is because this is just part of the MCU sub-theme, while those were the entirety of LEGO Marvel back then. But I mean, still... Could they really not have spared the expense to give us Ned? I mean, how hard could it have been? Like, really, it would have just been like MJ. They just had to make a new face because the torso could have just been just a reuse torso. Maybe like one from the Harry Potter sets as an example. I mean, those are some pretty good casual torsos that they could have made use of one of. I mean, like, I would have been perfectly fine if they'd taken, say, the Harry torso from the Whomping Willow set. That's the one I'm thinking of that would have worked really well. Just take that. Gives a new face print. The hairpiece could have been Flitwick's from the Harry Potter series, or if you want to go with something that's not as new, Maybe the comb-over hairpiece? I think that could have worked fine. And just give us, like, plain unprinted legs. Like, that would have been a great figure. Just, like, one new face print, and you would have had a Ned figure. But we didn't. But I guess we couldn't get that, and that really does bring the set down, in my opinion. Like, I would have gotten the set if it came with Ned. Like, full disclosure, that would have pushed me over the edge, and I would have gotten the set. But of the 3 sets, the one I am definitely getting is not the Molten Man Battle. It's Hydro Man Attacks, because this set is fantastic. You get figures that are all fantastic, especially Peter. Because, like, while I don't like the face print, that is something I can easily change, since I do have 2 LEGO Marty McFlys. I got both releases, so I can just take the face print from one of them and just give it to Peter here. I can switch out the hairpiece if I decide when I get the figure that I don't like the look of it. The beanie is great, and the torso is great, though. All the webbing designs are great. MJ's great. Mysterio's pretty cool. Hydro Man he's pretty good. Again, as I stated, he looks a lot better than I thought he would. The Venice build is fantastic. It's so cute. I love it. It's easily the best MCU build in a while, in my opinion. I mean, like, the best of this year, easily. I mean, like, really, the only competition, in my opinion, is the Hall of Armor, which could have been a contender, if not for the fact that it does feel a bit disjointed. But to be fair, I've seen people review it, and it looks a lot better in person, or I guess more accurately, it looks a lot better when someone has it set up as opposed to on the box. I don't know why, but that's a thing. And yeah, overall, these are 3 pretty good sets. I'd say one of the best MCU sublines we've had in a while. I'd say since Infinity War, which I know wasn't too long ago, but that is a couple. I mean, in between now and Infinity War, we had the Ant-Man and the Wasp set, 5 Spider-Man sets, and the Endgame sets. And I mean, really, Infinity War, I mean, before that, the best MCU line would have been quite a bit before that, like Guardians of the Galaxy? I mean, like, there aren't a ton of great MCU sets, so it's great that this line has, I mean, 2 that are pretty good, or more accurately, 1 that's pretty good, 1 that's really good but is brought down to pretty good by the price, and then this set, which is fantastic. And I guess that's my full analysis of the 3 LEGO Spider-Man Far From Home sets. This set is great, one of my favorites of this season. I love it. The other 2 sets are pretty good, but this set's fantastic. I've sung its praises enough. I'm done here. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.